Hey, hi everyone. I'm here with your 323 video, How Do Distances Compare? Absolute Value. Follow along as I read the introduction. So far in this course, you have made connections between integer expressions and movement on a number line. Today you will use your understanding to compare expressions, to determine the values of signed numbers, and to find out which frog is farther from the starting place in a jumping contest, even if the frogs hop in different directions. As you work today, keep these target questions in mind. What does it mean for a number to be greater? What are the ways in which I can compare two numbers? And how can I determine the distance jumped? So for problem 311, predict whether each answer below will be a positive, negative, or zero. It may be helpful to visualize a number line. After you have made each prediction, find the answer to check your prediction. Explore using the 3111 Student eTools CPM. So for problem 311, you're first going to go through 3111. You're going to go through and make a prediction. After you made your predictions, you're going to go through and find out the answer for sure. So if you're drawing a number line, you could draw a number line. If you could just simplify the expression 5 minus 10 in your head, you can do it that way too. But if you're not comfortable with it, you need to be drawing a number line. Go ahead and pause the video right now and answer problem 311. If you're back with me, that means you have answered problem 311. We're going to save that and talk about it in class. Flipping over to 313. 313 says, Dr. Frog and Bumblefrog were in a jumping competition. Both frogs started at 0 on a number line, but they had trouble jumping in the same direction consistently. Dr. Frog hopped 8 feet to the right and then 3 feet to the left. Bumblefrog hopped 9 feet to the left and 1 foot to the right. Write expressions. Part A says, write expressions to represent the jumps for each frog. So I'm going to have you go ahead and answer part A. Pause the video. Okay, if you're back with me, that means you have answered part A. So, Dr. Frog started at 0, hopped 8 feet to the right, and then 3 feet to the left. Bumblefrog started at 0, hopped 9 feet to the left, and 1 foot to the right. So part B says which frog is ahead. That is another way of asking which frog is sitting on a larger number on the number line. Explain. So go ahead and pause the video and answer part B. Remember, this is like your greater than or less than with your inequality. So go ahead and answer part B. So if you're back with me, that means you've answered part B. If you drew number lines, that's fine. So let's draw some number lines here. So if we started at 0 for Dr. Frog, we went 8 to the right, 3 to the left. Dr. Frog would end at 5. Bumblefrog started at 0, went 9 to the left, and then went 1 to the right. So Bumblefrog ended at -8. So hopefully you had Dr. Frog is ahead because 5 is greater than negative 8. Okay, for part C, it says, imagine now that the winner of the frog jumping contest is the frog that lands farthest away from 0, and that the direction the frog jumps does not matter. In this case, which frog would win? Explain. So go ahead and pause your video and answer part C. If you're back with me, that means you have answered part C. So now we're looking at the two frogs. We're looking at how far they jumped, not the direction that they jumped. So for this question, you should have had Bumble Frog would win because he was 8 units from 0. Remember, direction doesn't matter. So he was 8 units from 0, and Dr. Frog was only 5 units from 0. Okay. Let's move on to question 314. 3114 says, when you compare jumping frogs, sometimes you want to compare the values of where they land. Other times you want to compare the distances between the ending spots and the starting spots. In the case of the frog problems, the distance between the ending and starting spots is the distance from 0. The numerical value of a number without regard to its sign is called the absolute value. Absolute value can represent the distance on a number line between a number and 0. Whether a frog is 3 feet to the left of 0 on a number line, -3, or if a frog is 3 feet to the right of 0 on the number line, +3. Either way, the frog is still just 3 feet away from 0. This is the idea of absolute value. Straight vertical bars around the expression or number line or number are used to indicate the distance or absolute value of an expression or a number. For example, to show that a frog's location is 3 feet right of 0, you would write the absolute value of 3 equals 3. To show that a frog's location is 3 feet left of 0, you would write the absolute value of -3 equals 3. Part A. Mr. Wizard started at 0 and jumped left 7 feet. Auntie Longlegs started at 0 and jumped right 5 feet. Which frog was ahead? Write an inequality statement using negative or less than or greater than to compare the values of the landing points. So this is what we have been doing in the past questions. So go ahead and pause and answer. Okay, so hopefully for your inequality, you notice that Mr. Wizard ended at -7 and Auntie Longlegs ended at +5. So -7 is less than 5. That's your inequality. Part B says, for each frog in Part A, write an absolute value statement that shows the distance of each frog and that the distance each frog ended up from 0. Which frog was farther away from 0? So go ahead and pause and try this. Okay, if you're back with me, you should have had your statement. So you should have had the absolute value of -7 equals 7. The absolute value of 5 equals 5. Remember, this is Mr. Wizard. This is Auntie. So your answer should be Mr. Wizard was farther from 0. Okay. Your job now is going to be to finish Part C for this problem. Okay, and we will talk about Part C in class. So just a quick recap, we have done absolute value, and that is what you are going to continue on with Part C. We will talk about this when you come back to class, and as always, if you have questions, please email me.